You gotta scream it out. You gotta scream it out. Let it out.
Scream it out.
Scream
Hi.
It out.
Scream it out.
Hi.
Hi. Good morning. Comics.
Morning.
McLoken, you're so short in my frame. I gotta fix it. Last minute fixing of things. Doing it. We're gonna
You
get
flip the
taller.
camera over right when I'm doing shit.
We're gonna
Hi.
get taller real quick.
Hi. Good morning, everybody.
Welcome to Saturday Morning Comics, where we make McLoken taller.
Welcome to where all like it's it's Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Hello, my name is Bob.
There we go.
Hi, my name's McLoken.
And we make me less tall. Boom.
Boom.
I look a little different today.
Yeah, you
look
look beautiful.
vibrant.
You look like
I'm
the
really
Map
not
Show.
vibrant.
This is what happens when you stream right before, okay? I'm switching it.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I'm sorry.
I got
I
it.
brought my community
I figured
over.
it out. I did it. Mom, I did it. Okay, this is the comic book show.
I would love to be Mav. I went to E3.
My hair is beautiful
I
and
had a very
purple.
good time. I had an operation.
And now my voice is very deep. This is
My
Mav.
voice is deep. And I took all my purple hair,
Listen.
dyed it red, and put it on my face.
Okay, so this is Saturday Morning Comics post E3. We're all crazy most of the time, but especially crazy now. Especially crazy. We are talking about specifically one certain comic today. Hello. It is
It's
beautiful
not this,
and amazing and
At all.
just everything. And everyone needs to read it. Everybody
Everybody.
read it. Just do it right now. Log
Don't be
off
friends
of your
until you read
computer,
it.
go straight to the comic book store, and get this book. Is basically the whole thing. Okay, bye. I'm kidding. Ah! Okay. So, low is the topic, but if you wanted to say anything specific about your adventures in comics in the last little bit, McLoken and Mav, since we haven't been all together in a little while, I would love to hear anything new you've been reading, anything like you were just like, wow, I saw this movie and it reminded me of this comic that I read 20 years ago, anything special?
Well, no, Mav, you go first.
Go ahead.
Okay, I won't. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Curtsy. I did a little curtsy for you. I've been reading the new Rebirth from DC, which is kind of getting weird, but they're putting Watchmen in it.
Yeah,
Which
I've
is-
heard
What?
that.
Yeah,
They're like
putting Watchmen-
rebooting from back when Watchmen ended, and they're like, okay, this is real again.
Yeah, and they're doing Batman Rebirth, which that's getting kind of crazy. There's two Batmans.
What?
Yeah, it starts off where he's fighting Azrael, and when he's fighting Azrael, it switches to Batman coming in, and Azrael's gotten the crap kicked out of him, and he saved his life because he was about to die, and he was like, "Hey, who did this to you?" And he was like, "You did." And so,
Oh, plot twist.
yeah, so either someone's dressing up as Batman, or it's a future Batman coming to the past because some shit happened. I don't know.
Can we just
I'll-
acknowledge Blue real quick eating bacon?
Whoa!
Look at her face.
Can I come over?
Yeah, come on over. Come on over. Come on over, baby.
Other than that, I've been reading Civil War II. Trying to.
Which one did you read?
I read the first issue.
Okay.
Hold on
Uh,
1 second. Let me find
That's
it.
pretty crazy, huh? Don't spoil it, but pretty crazy shit goes down,
This
yeah?
one? You read this one.
That's the Spider-Man one?
I-
I haven't read that one.
I have not read the Spider-Man one.
Oh.
Well,
We
do
didn't
you
read this.
hide it?
You. Oh!
Well, I'm sorry for
Don't
showing
talk
you
to me
that
about things you
cover.
haven't read.
Well, I have.
Yeah, Mav knows everything about that particular issue that we don't know.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I need to go to my local comic book store and pick that up.
Yeah, me too. I'm a little behind.
a-
I have not. I have Rebirth number
$3.99.
1. I have the main Rebirth story, but I haven't actually read it yet. Because every Rebirth everything has been sold out of our comic store.
And,
Everything.
hold on. We haven't talked since Cap did the Hell Hydra thing.
I haven't read that either, mostly because I'm kind of rebelling against everyone freaking out. So
You
I'm
mean
just
this
like,
one?
I'm not even gonna do it. No.
No, it's Captain America 1. And
Well, I mean, this is one that was.
That's Captain
controversial.
America, like the Falcon one.
oh, is that the one? Okay. No, people are flipping out about it.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of like rebelling against it. I'm just like, I'll read it when it comes out in trade.
Me personally, I feel indifferent about it. I'm not gonna rage. I want to see how this pans out, right? I want to see what the story is.
Right.
For me, like being a hard, like diehard Captain America fan, I was like, I feel dirty. I feel dirty.
Right?
Like,
You feel like you're like breaking the law, and then like you like did drugs, and then like you like sped through a school zone.
And then in your dream, Captain America came to you and was like,
do the right
Hail
thing.
Hydra.
And it's like, a lot of things for me personally that I noticed is that like, is he a double agent? I would really hate that kind of storyline. He's like, oh, I was really with Shield all the time. I just pretended to be Hydra.
I'm a triple agent.
Yeah, I'm a quadruple secret double Z agent.
I mean, it's plausible. Like, I mean, if you think about like the connections between how he was created, and then like the people who did it, and then like the years that went on, and the corruption that happened.
Yeah, well, and then if you tie it into the stuff we see happening in the MCU right now, where he's struggling so hard to kind of fight for the fact that Bucky is just brainwashed and not actually a bad person when it comes down to it, and it keeps like hitting him in the face, basically, like, hey, you think your best friend's nice, well, we want to murder you now. When you tie that into like a reveal like the Captain America Hail Hydra thing, it's kind of like, well, we've seen a lot of brainwashing, we've seen a lot of things that look one way from one perspective and are actually a different way. Like, I'm not gonna jump on the like Captain America's been like a Nazi this whole time. Like, no, like of anyone else we've seen who Captain America is. No.
I would like to add 2 theories I have about this.
Okay.
So he was created younger. Spoilers for comic that already came out.
Spoilers!
He's younger now.
Yeah.
Because of the Cosmic Cube girl. I can't remember. Kubrick?
He
Kubrick,
he
I
was
think.
super old Captain America, and he retired, and that's why the Falcon was Captain America. But now he's not old anymore.
So he was created young through the Cosmic Cube girl. I think her name was Kubrick. I can't remember off the top of my head. So that is, I think, something
Something went wrong
that might be affecting it. But also, when he was in the church as the old Captain America, he was then there with the priest. And it turns out the priest was actually Red Skull. And Red Skull was Xavier, right? He has Xavier's brain.
Oh, right. The brain switching thing. I remember that now.
So,
that was
he
crazy.
was like, and no one knew it was Red Skull at the time, but Red Skull knew it was Captain America, so he could have been doing some like mental shit to him.
Oh, for sure.
Where he like implanted those thoughts. So those are like my 2 thoughts of something that might be happening that might be interesting. Or he just might have been a dick the whole time. He might have been Hydra. I don't like his new shield.
This is a comic book.
Yeah.
If people who haven't been like reading or like listening to people talk about comics for a long time don't maybe not realize that comic books always like go off the rails and then pull it back. Because like Superman's died, Batman's died, Wolverine's died, the Hulk was sent off to another planet. Like, and they always pull it back. Usually it's a plot device. Like, the Hulk was sent off to another planet so that he wouldn't be around when the original Secret Wars was happening, because if he was on anybody's side, that side would win. Period. End of discussion.
Yeah.
So they made up this like weird thing just to get him out of the picture. So when you think about it in that way, like, it's a plot device. Like, whatever they're doing with Captain America right now, they're doing it to just raise sales or to get him out of the way for this other event that's happening, because if he were there, he would just do blah 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 blah. Like, it's how comics have worked for like decades at this point. So,
I mean, and this is like writing in general, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always gonna try to go off and or exercise that sort of thing.
I would also like to add new 52 Superman is dead.
What?
Dead.
That's
They
never
killed him.
happened in comics before.
Well, they killed him, and it turns out the old original DC Superman has been living in the New 52 with Lois, and they have a kid this whole time.
This whole time.
Yeah, so new Superman's dead, old Superman's just chilling, and he's like, I don't want to deal with you guys. Like, you guys got your own shit. I'm a lumberjack somewhere.
New Superman is dead. New flame.
Yeah.
There's so many Supermans running around that I didn't know about. Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like about the whole multiverse, about the DC universe. It gets complicated, and I'm
the last event for Marvel was the secret. I think the Secret Wars event was supposed to condense the multiverses into one verse, and yet,
Yeah,
like, we still have all this crazy shit going down. Like, it's just, it's always gonna be that way. It's always gonna be that way. Okay,
Well,
so
it's-
you've been
It's always gonna be chaos. I feel like.
comic books. What comic books are? That's comic
That's
books.
what we're here for.
Okay, Mav, what have you been
Okay.
reading?
I've been reading.
Civil War.
It was really cool though. It was really dark. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting like
Who's
like
the writer
journey.
and artist on the Amazing Spider-Man version? Who is it?
You know. No, I don't know. Okay, writer Christos, artist Travel Foreman.
Okay, I don't know either of those people. I should check it out.
Color artist is Rain,
Okay.
and the cover art's different, which makes me sad. Kind
Always
of like what we were
happens.
talking. Yeah, kind of what we talked about. I was like, nah. But in this one though, he is actually existing with himself as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So like they work for the same company.
Wait.
They-
Yeah,
no-
there's a Peter Parker and there's a Spider-Man, and they're separate people.
They're separate people. They work at the same company, and they're like, Peter Parker's on vacation, and Spider-Man's like, yeah, he's on vacation. He'll be back next week. And so he walks around the actual like lab as Spider-Man and introducing this kid and stuff. So it was really cool. It was really different. I wasn't expecting them to like know each other, you know, which is kind of like smart. I feel like it's kind of smart.
Yeah, the whole
But I read-
like whenever they do events, I'm always like, should I wait until this event is over to read everything because there's gonna be so many offshoots, or should I like read it as it comes out and just like be really confused sometime? Or like that's my thing when the big events comes out. Is I've followed events like and gotten every issue. Like I did that with Spider-Verse, and it was actually pretty cool, but it was a lot of comics.
A lot of comics, a lot of waiting, and the fact that like Captain Marvel's on the front. So I didn't even put two and two together, but I read the Captain Marvel right here, and
Yeah.
I feel like I should wait because like it was really great. The first issue was really really awesome, but I feel like there's so much that's gonna happen that I'm gonna be pissed off that I want to know more about.
Yeah, and like if you wait month to month, you're
And
just gonna
if I
hate
wait
yourself.
and then I forget, and then like I don't know, that makes me angry.
Comic books.
Come on,
comic
Netflix
books.
it out. Let's go.
Let's Netflix binge comic books.
Netflix binge comics.
Nice.
But I also read the A-Force, which if you guys don't know, are like the leading ladies.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
A-Force is
Yeah.
like, yes.
I wasn't even sure what to expect, so I got a couple of them, and they're pretty badass.
I read they introduced
Captain Marvel
A-Force
there.
within the Secret Wars storyline that they did recently, and there's this one character who's like got space hair.
Yeah.
Who is that?
She's what is her name? Singularity.
Yeah.
McLoken.
I want to
Here's
know
the
more about
character.
her. She looks awesome. She's just space lady.
She's like a ball of matter. It's great.
yeah.
But they pushed Captain Marvel again, and the fact that they're casting for the movie, and the person they're trying to cast, you know, I forget her name, but she looks just like her. Oh my god. I was just like, wow, okay.
Good
really cool,
job,
really cool
Chris Anka.
character.
Awesome.
I thought they were gonna go with Emily Blunt, honestly, but they were going with someone else.
They switched it up a bunch of times
went-
with the rumors about casting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's more of like I don't want to say manly, but more of like a more built woman with, you know, like she's like 6'7" or something ridiculous.
I mean, that
She's
is
not
more Captain
a-
Marvel to me. She's not a
Yeah.
dainty little princess.
She like doesn't want to stay at the desk. She wants to go out and like beat up floating comets and stuff and like
I mean,
throw them
before
across
she was a
galaxies.
superhero, she was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't she related to Rogue
who,
in the
Rogue?
comics? Yeah.
Not that I have ever seen.
That's because that's how Rogue got her flying in her strength is she absorbed Captain Miss Marvel's
she might have
powers.
absorbed it, but they're not like actually related.
And they're like, she got permanent because she was related to her. I don't know. I can't remember.
If they did, I haven't read that part. I read the Kelly Sue DeConnick run that started a long time ago, like 8, 5.
I think I learned this from the 90s, like.
Okay, I wasn't reading it in the 90s because I'm a tiny baby. I'm a tiny baby, so. Okay, yeah, I've been mostly reading stuff that we've been reading for the show. So I read Transmet, which was awesome. Before that, I read what?
Preacher.
Yeah, Preacher. And then I've also been reading Black Science, which is another book by the author of Low, Rick Remender, and that's crazy. And then I just picked up the second, Black Science. It's really, really good. We'll probably like end up like drawing similarities between his other works. But Black Science was really good. And then I've been reading The Massive, which is a book by Brian Wood. It's about a future where like kind of it's post-apocalyptic, where like.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, it's a big thing right now. But the premise is basically that there's this like kind of like Greenpeace, like Save the Oceans organization that has a fleet of ships, and they just have like 2 ships. It's not like a big deal. And their main ship, called the Massive, gets lost in the Arctic seas, and they can't find it and they can't contact it. And the story is them trying to find their like other ship and their missing crew members.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it's
drama.
Like, yeah,
super
but
dramatic.
it's just like. It's really well done. It's really well drawn. And then, of course, you have a lot of, like, this is what the world is like now, but it's, like, in a secondary role to this kind of, like, mystery story. And you're kind of discovering where the characters are from and what they, like, how they relate to each other and what they give to this, like, you know, peace exploration mission. Like, not all of them are actually, like, all peaceful. Like, one of them was, like, an hunter, like I think he was like a Somali warrior or something, and so he's got all this like weapons backgrounds, but he's on this mission of peace, and like then he's got to use his like background, and it's
so
like
he's, like,
where do you draw the line, and like
bad.
Yeah, so it's really good so far, and I'm really excited to read more of it because I had to wait like a month and a half for us to get the second volume in because the Diamond was being dumb. Okay, but let's talk about Low. Let me bring up
so many comics going on right now, but
I have to change the
it's too low.
Yeah, let's do
Oh, McLoken, you recently read it.
Yeah, I read the first 5 issues.
Gotta bring up the right art. Oh, give me one.
That's all the first volume, right?
Is it?
Or part of the first volume?
I think 1 through 6 should be the first volume.
First volume, yeah.
I started 6 and I was like, it's 3 a.m. I need to wake up.
Oh, jeez, yeah, it's 3 a.m. Let's not do that.
How crazy though! Like just like vague, insane, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
so
when I started reading it, I was like, okay, this looks interesting. Oh, a butt, and I was like,
butts! Yes, I am so into this book now. This is my favorite book. There's butts.
There's that butt.
For those of you that are unaware. What's happening? Okay,
This is not a comic for children.
This is not a comic for children. There are butts.
Not for children.
Okay.
At all.
It's fine. It's just gonna cut the pictures off weird. It'll be fine. If the pictures are weird, it's fine.
Adapt, everybody.
Oh, I'm Mav again? Oh, hi.
Hi.
Oh god damn it. You are. See, this is what happens when you aren't here when we start.
I'm
It's
sorry.
all your fault. This is you.
Hello, Mavicorn.
You get to be
I may
Mav.
look different.
Okay, I'm just gonna let it be a little weird. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so the comic Low is pretty, like, it's not too complicated to give a loose description of how it begins. The premise is that humanity, the sun is expanded. This is like the first page. It's got a butt. That's like the first page. Just look at that.
A
It's
really
butt.
nice, like it's
Very
really
nicely done butt.
very
Yeah,
nice butt.
It's very nice butt. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, so the sun is expanded and humanity is forced to live under the ocean in these like dome cities, and they're looking for an inhabitable planet to be able to not live under the ocean and die slowly when air runs out. So that's like the very, very basic understanding of where Low starts.
Yeah.
It's much more complicated than that. There's an intense story about like hope, the dangers of believing that things are gonna get better, about like government like control of like hope. It's it's about hope. It's a story about hope. And when you read like the intro, I think Rick Remender was saying that one of the reasons why he wrote the main character, who's I think Stella, is it Stella Kane?
Stella. Yeah, Stella.
He has written a lot of main characters who have kind of like existed without hope, who have been in these dire straits, and they're just like,
Oh well.
this is the worst thing that's ever happened. My life is awful. Everything is horrible. Like, so he's written a lot of really down stuff, and like somebody I think at one point brought it to his attention, like, hey, all of your main characters are pretty hopeless. Like, they're not exactly very good, like, at bringing people up. Like, you write a lot of depressing shit. And not to say that Low doesn't get down, because there are some really depressing stuff, like in the first issue.
I feel like the entirety of Low is down.
Yeah.
But like, there's like these moments of triumph, but then like, for the most part, like, just, you think Game of Thrones is depressing.
Yeah.
Read Low, and your heart will be ripped out of your throat.
Yeah, so
I know.
he wrote Stell as a character who is put in these situations that are constantly like really fighting like her optimism and her belief in things will get better, and she continues to hold on to that despite like just always like further like troubles and trials, and like a bunch of shit gets thrown at her. Like, her life sucks, but she continues to hold on to this like hope.
She's like annoyingly optimistic
At
in the
times,
sense
and
of,
like her the people around her bring it up. Like, they're like, I'm sorry, but like you keep saying that you just gotta like look forward and everything's gonna be okay, but fuck it, no, like that doesn't always
clearly
work.
everything's not gonna be okay.
Everything is not fine. Yeah, so that is like one of the reasons why he like approached this character. And like that is like a really clear theme in the comic book, is that like at what point do you just like sink into the abyss, you know? And
it was cool how they started the story out, and I thought it was gonna be present. Like, I thought that was the present time.
okay.
And they don't. They start the story out in the past, because if you think about it, most of the story is 10 years in the future. You know?
Yeah, they start the story out,
and it's like this young
it's
family,
these past
and
events that
Right.
influence the main story. Yeah. It's like it's like a prologue.
Yeah.
Issue 1 is like a prologue, but it doesn't tell you that it's a prologue.
Yeah.
It's like, this stuff happens, now it's 10 years in the future. And it's really
It was
intense.
crazy.
Going like by issue 5, I was like, I'm really liking this character, and then at issue 5, I was like, well, fuck my dreams. Like, damn it.
Was it Marek?
Are you talking about Mark?
This is Malik. Is his name Malik?
Oh,
think
Merrick?
it's-
Merrick. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Merrick.
Her son.
Yeah.
I know. He was like, he's.
Oh
was
yeah,
so
the
funny.
one who was like on all these drugs.
Well,
All the
I mean,
drugs.
No,
not
yeah.
even that,
By issue
like,
2, I was like, wow, he's doing drugs, and it's like he's an Olympian and shit. I was like, and then he starts coming down, and he's like, I need more, and then he starts doing more, and he's back into fantasy, and I was just like, that dude's hardcore.
Yeah, so the
But-
premise of like, you go 10 years into the future by the second issue, and like the first issue's events are really, really important to the storyline, and I don't necessarily want to spoil them for anybody.
Yeah.
But the second issue, you go 10 years in the future, and pretty much like the oxygen's running out. Like, everyone is like,
It's gone.
they've
Like, it's
committed
failed.
themselves that they're going to die. Like, there's no escape. Like, we're not going to find an inhabitable planet. Like, everyone's going to die. So pretty much everyone is on a lot of drugs. Because, like, life is literally, like, going to end.
Like, what would you do if life's been decaying for the last couple of years? You'd be
So,
like, oh, well.
yeah, the character tell us about how we're introduced to the character of Marek McLoken. Like, you're talking about his gladiator thing. Like, tell us more about
First,
him.
it was a little boy, and he was like this little genius.
Yeah,
Like in the prequel,
he built those necklaces that help guide the two girls on their path. Like when it lights up when they're true to themselves, or and then so you automatically know this kid's smart, right? And then he's like, oh, I'm not, because they have the stall suits, I think they're called, or the Salus, the Salus suits.
The Salus.
Basically what happens is that they're training the two girls to operate the Salus suit, and like Kane is their last name, and they're very like prominent in this place and all that kind of stuff. And then shit hits the fan after the first issue, because it wouldn't be a comic if it didn't.
Shit has to hit the fan.
And so by the second comic, you run into, like, I didn't know it was Merrick at first, but like he's fucking a prostitute, like doing drugs and shit. And I was like,
yeah, he
shit
starts
has
out as
gone
this
downhill.
kid, and then he's just like, oh, yeah, your life took a turn, didn't it?
Yeah.
They do it
dark.
really, really quickly.
Really quickly.
Yeah. And then like he makes a comeback. He has a kind of like, I want to say, coming of age. Like, because I don't think he really had that, because he was always like, fucking, all I have is my mom now, and like shit's fucking going downhill. And then they find like this whole, like the first two issues, they're talking about this the myth of a third city where they have clean air and grass is greener on the other side. They find the third city, almost dying finding it. And then like that's where he kind of has his turning point as a character, right? Because his mom gives him a whole speech.
Exactly. Because
she went
so
to the
down.
wise elder. Yeah, she went to the wise elder saying like, this guy, told the story about like the guy who made bad decisions through his whole life essentially, and then towards the end of his life, he acted true to himself, and that's what his true actions were, right? He acted on his true actions and became truly who he was, and that's what happens with Merrick. And it's kind of like foreshadowing a little bit, because they get caught in the third city because it's full of fucking pirates and they all hate him because they're nobles. You can kind of
see it, and if you see the slide, you can kind of see it. It's kind of like the one where like they're wearing really weird hats and big goggles, and like there's like this huge lobster beast.
Let's back up a second and just describe. We've been introduced into 3 cities so far. So these are these below the ocean, like domes full of like, it's a big city full of air, and like they just somehow exist. Let's just like sci-fi. It's sci-fi. So you have one, and it's the one that you're introduced to in the first. It's the city of. Is it the whole city's named Salus? Is that right? Or
no,
I don't know. I don't know what the names are.
The armor is called Salus.
I don't remember
the city.
What the names
I think
are.
It's just called the first city. I don't remember it actually having.
So the first city is basically full of aristocrats. Like, this is like the upper class. Like, it's all pretty and nice, and there's floating ship things.
They're like true bloods,
and they have like a lot. They have like class levels, but there's no one who's like. You don't see anybody who's really that poor. You know, and then when these characters leave this city, you're introduced to the second dome city, and that's the one that's full of pirates. They were thinking of it as like the promised land, but it's full of pirates and murderers and thieves and people who are enslaved to duel to the death in this arena. And so this is not a promised city either. And then later on in the story, I don't know if you're quite there yet, McLoken, you're introduced to a third dome city where any art or propaganda that or writing that
like the polar bear and the blue-haired girl
alludes to the hope for a outside world, a better world, anything different than where we live right now, that is illegal, and you'll be murdered for it. You'll be killed for looking at things outside as better. Like, you don't want to bring people's hopes up. they have like these cops whose job it is to make sure nobody like thinks that things could get better. Like that
It's
is
really
like they kill
cool.
people
It's
for
really
thinking
cool how they
that
did
things
it.
could be
So
better.
it's North Korea.
Yeah, it's a very they try to control what people think.
Yeah.
So that's the
Well, I mean,
third
that's,
city
like,
that we're
well,
introduced
that's a great
to.
example though, because the second city they didn't let people read,
Oh yeah. In the pirate city,
and they and you know
nobody was supposed to get educated, and that was
first city,
their
what
way
did they
of
outlaw?
controlling it. Yeah.
Does every city have something
you
they
weren't really
outlawed?
I mean, the first city they didn't really want you traveling. They didn't really want you to leave the dome. They just kind of wanted to be like, oh, we're just gonna be here and sit on our pretty rock.
I think the
Kind of,
first
I felt
city
like.
it's kind of just like idyllic, but
the
when you
most
look behind
normal.
the curtain, everyone's
Yeah.
just like so fucked. Like they've given up hope, but they didn't even get like forced by the government to give up hope. They just given it up. They're just like, okay, we're dying. Let's just fuck everything and take all of the drugs and like just devolve into this pleasure culture, almost.
Yeah.
Like, so we have these 3 different cities that are all running things differently, but the similarity is all of them is convinced that they're never getting out. They're dying there. And yeah.
Okay, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're
Okay.
talking about Merrick and the pirate city.
Well, I just want to say the first city, even what it completely reminds me of, it reminds me of how how our government, the U.S. government, is like kind of like against the space program, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
They're not funding it. We're not doing anything to kind of do exploration or anything
Right.
like that.
Right.
And that first city totally reminds me of that. They're like, why are we gonna
Don't
even
go
worry
there.
about-
Why are you leaving?
The probe's
Don't
not
take your
coming back.
children.
It
Yeah.
didn't find anything inhabitable. It's a suicide mission. Just go die, you know. And like, that's what I feel. I feel like it's kind of mirroring what we're kind of going through because, like honestly, like, Earth is not gonna last forever. Like
Yeah.
and I mean, like, we're probably gonna run out of capacity before anything. And so, like,
yeah, the
space exploration-
overpopulation, like they condense
Yeah.
it down into these domes, but the issue is the same. You
Yeah,
have
I mean,
like
but-
too many people for too small of a space and too few resources.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and that's something that's currently happening in our world today. I mean, like, China's having issues with starvation because for their land they have too many people and not enough production. Like, they're reaching that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And I
they're
mean,
drawing this parallel very, like, they let you draw it. They're not, like, forcing
Yeah.
it on you. And that's the same with the city where they control the art and stuff. Like, they're saying that this is how it is, but they're not forcing, like, a political opinion on you, which is one of my favorite things about comics is, like, this is just how it is, and you can take this as purely sci-fi, or you can take that
Relate it.
information and relate it to the larger world, but you're not, like, it's not being shoved down your throat.
Yeah. But, you know, and back to Merrick, the great thing about Merrick is that they put him in that gladiator pit, and he's a fucking badass.
He's so badass.
He's like, dude, he's going there, he's fucking
once he
killing
has
people.
that motivation.
Well,
Yeah.
he kind of like didn't. I mean, he's brilliant, but he kind of like has nothing to live for.
Yeah.
So he kind of is a little
Yeah.
bit more volatile and a little more.
before his mom comes back to like try to reinstill hope. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
at the point where he's just like, I'm gonna do drugs, I'm gonna fuck women, I'm gonna like kill this person. Like I don't have anything to live for anymore. But then he has that like change of heart. You said, look, and you called it like the coming of age.
Yeah, it's a late coming of age because like he should have had that when he was younger, but I think he missed out on it because of all the tragedy that happens in between, right? And so
And also like what you said, like the first world, like you just don't think about it, you
Yeah.
just move on.
yeah, it's just like we're fucked anyways. What's the
Yeah.
point? And
Yeah.
then like kind of given this hope, where like for me they haven't even found this fucking probe yet. So I like
They
I
haven't
wanna
found it where
see
I
them.
am either.
Oh shit!
Still
Well,
haven't found
okay.
it.
We still haven't found it.
Well,
Magic probe.
yeah, I mean like
Magic hopeful pro.
well, I just feel And like I want them to find that probe, and I want them to go back to the first place and be like, "What's up, motherfuckers?
We fucking
let's
did
come
it. You
with
said
us."
we couldn't, but we
You know?
fucking did. Okay, like backing up, like the probe is in the very, very beginning, like in the first issue. The humanity sent out probes to try and scope out inhabitable planets, and one of them is it's in orbit of a planet, but it's not sending back any information. So this woman who's in charge of like looking at these probes, the main character, is like, well, it's probably just broken, but I think that it's found a planet that's inhabitable, so I'm going to call it back. It'll take about 10 years to come back. And that is when you jump into the future, and this probe has crash landed on the surface, which is uninhabitable. And she is determined to go and get it. And that's what the journey is. That's where they're moving towards in physical space. Is to go and find this probe that crash landed on the surface of the Earth, which is super irradiated because the sun is expanded. So that is the basic, like, that's what we're talking about, probes. I don't think we explained it very well, so I was just going back over.
Probe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's how they send out a probe, and like the very like the prologue, she gets a reading. And she's like, look, it says like it's stuck on this planet. It might be inhabitable.
Yeah,
and
but it's
so
not
she's
sending
like,
us any information. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm calling it back, right? So she calls it back. They make a joke. It's gonna take 10,000 years. She's like, no, it's gonna be 10 years, right? That's how you know like the time skip happens, because the probe comes back at the beginning of episode or of issue 2.
Yeah.
And that's
like,
10 years in the future. And
yeah. And why they get stuck in the third city or the second city or the mythical third city, I should say. What happens is that in the first issue, can I spoil it? Is that cool?
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
it's the first issue. Like, it sets up everything else. I don't think like no one's gonna be like, I heard what happened, so I don't want to read it anymore. So yeah, go ahead and spoil it. Spoil
Okay.
it. Spoilers!
So, spoilers.
Close your ears.
All right. So basically, what happens is that they're going to train these daughters. Their 2 daughters with for the Solace armor.
It's an
which
armor
is
that can
fucking-
only be run by somebody who has this specific
Blood.
bloodline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's genetically attached to a certain family line.
Yeah.
So
Like,
they get bum rushed by pirates. So it's the mom, the dad, and the 2 daughters, and Merrick the son is back at home because he doesn't like going out. So
'Cause he's a
and
nerd.
Like, tinkering with stuff. And so Merrick made these 2 necklaces for the daughters to guide them to be true to themselves so they can operate this armor. Well, they get captured by pirates. The dad loses his eye so they can operate the Soulless armor because it operates off the genetics of the eye. Or like that's how it reads the gene code. They threw
The pirates
iris.
take his eye so that they can operate.
The pirates take the dad's eye. They leave them to die, but somehow they lived. The dad dies at the beginning of issue 2.
I bawled
and
my
so-
eyes out.
And they
when it all
take
happened.
their 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Take them.
They
Like,
take them.
taken.
They
There was,
take
Liam
them.
Neeson was nowhere.
Liam Neeson wasn't even there.
I'm gonna come find you.
Yeah, so the
I have
daughters are
particular set
taken,
of skills.
the dad is dead, and the mom
So-
is alone to go back to her son and be like, look, our whole family's gone now.
So yeah,
That would be an interesting conversation.
yeah, shit happened. So
That's
when they
the
get to the
spoilers.
third city, they discover the pirate who ransacked him, and he runs this place, and they find one of the daughters. So the mom flips out, and so
Well, he
basically,
claimed to be his daughter.
which that
He
confused
like
the fuck out
Stockholm
of
he
me.
Stockholm syndromed the shit out of her.
Yeah.
He Stockholm
Yeah.
syndromed the shit out of her.
What did
I
he call
never.
her? What did he call her?
I don't remember.
Her name, her
not-
original name was
not-
Tojo or something like that, wasn't it?
Not Precious. What did he call her? Hold on.
A process.
Uh,
He called her something
The daughters'
ridiculous, and it
names
grossed
are
me
in the
out.
first issue. Let's do Tajo and
Tajo's the older one, right?
Tajo is the dark haired. No, she is actually younger, I think. I'm pretty sure she's younger.
Oh.
Isn't Tajo? Let me see.
Because they seem old
Yeah,
enough
she's-
where they'd be like,
She is younger. And then
okay.
the blonde sister
Stella.
is older.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Right.
even
But even so,
like they're old enough to be like, yeah, you
They're
killed
like
my
women.
dad.
oh yeah, they are. But I mean, like, if you think about it, you go through something so traumatic like that, you go into shock,
Yeah.
and you literally have mental issues after that. And
Yeah,
then,
and-
especially if you have people telling you, "Oh my God, we saved you," and you're this child, and you're not even double digits. Like,
We saved
mean,
you from
well-
your horrible family. Now it's
Well,
better.
also,
Your mom's a
no,
bitch. Don't like her.
they could have drugged them. They could
Yeah.
have done a lot of things.
They
to
got a
make
bunch of
them
future
happy.
shit where I don't know.
The
But
future sci-fi drug.
but I thought that was a
I'm
great scene
daddy.
because what ends up happening to Merrick is that he went to gladiator pit where he got stabbed in the back by like an assassin or whatever, and
Yeah.
she has a recollection because he plucks out Merrick's eye like he did his dad.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and
It's really
so
graphic.
it is really graphic, and she sees that, and she like all the repressed memories come back to her, and she gets in
Okay,
that.
it's
fucking
Tajo, Della,
soulless
and then
armor.
Stell's the mom. I got confused.
Yeah.
Stell and Della.
So,
Okay,
She-
so yeah.
when she got in that soulless armor, I was like, shit's hitting the fan.
Oh my god, that shit hit the fan so hard. Don't spoil that. Don't spoil that.
No, but I just gotta say that armor is fucking amazing.
No, the art. Oh, let's talk about the art for a second. Can we do that? We've got this art
Yeah.
on replay. The artist is Greg Tocchini. I think he's from Brazil. He has this amazing watercolor style, which really contributes super well to this setting under the ocean, because there's so many flowing lines.
sci-fi
And he also does a really good job with thematic. I don't know if he's doing the color work or if someone else is doing the color work.
someone else is doing the color work, but
Colorist is it's a color
Marianne.
assistant, Marianne. So they're probably working on that together. Just his artwork wouldn't do well with someone else coloring it completely, I don't think. But so him and Marianne work with these color palettes that are absolutely gorgeous, and they kind of help to tell the story and give you that vein of what kind of emotions are we supposed to feel. If it's all reds and oranges and then you're okay.
well, how the
so-
necklace was purple is amazing, because that's the only purple in the story.
Yeah,
is the necklace.
You're
is.
given
Yeah.
you're given
There's
focus
no other purple
with
That's,
the
only
coloring
purple.
of the pages, and the underwater scenes are absolutely stunning. When one just scrolled past, and it's gorgeous and amazing, and all of these creatures that are similar to fish that we've seen, but of course it's thousands of years in the future, and they've all been irradiated to shit. So it's beautifully done, and you have a lot of incredible covers as well, but one of the really the book has not been late at all, really. And one of the things that I've noticed that makes me a tiny bit sad is you can see that some of the pages, the art looks like it was squished to fit a panel. Sometimes there's just little
they
tiny
cropped
things.
it.
Yeah, they cropped it weird. If you look at her face right here, it looks like it was squished to be able to fit there. And so there are just little tiny things as you go on, because I feel like he's being rushed to get it out on time. His art goes from being incredibly detailed to a little bit smoother and
Oh, yeah,
less
yeah.
And so that's
a little more abstract in the way.
yeah.
to
But
make
you
it
get used to seeing my boss, when we first started reading Low, when we first got Low in, my boss was talking about how it was hard for him to tell what was happening because the line work is very sketchy and it's not super comic booky. And as it goes on, the more you read, the more you kind of get used to his way of drawing and his way of laying out a page. And so the more time goes on, the more you're I can see what's happening really clearly the first second I look at the panel, because I've gotten used to the way this artist does his detail work.
Yeah, that's true, because when I didn't read the second one, but I kind of sort of quickly skimmed through it this morning, and it was much easier because I had been reading the first one.
Well, the art is very detailed. The art is it's sketchy, but it's also got a lot of details in it. You go like the cityscape scene and you're like, okay, like there's so much going on, like there's so much it's laying out for you visually, and there's a lot of places for your eye to focus. They do a good job with the coloring to like draw your focus where it ought to be, but at the same time, like it's one of those things where it took a second for my boss like to get used to, like, where am I directing my eye? Like, what is this panel trying to tell me? Because they do get a little busy with like the undersea stuff and the like.
Yeah,
awesome...
they do. It's amazing. There's so much. It's like so much. It'll take
you go back and look at it, and it's like
if you actually take the time and really look at everything. Like, yeah,
so good. It's so good. But one of my favorite things about the artist is how well he works with the underwater scenes, and we get more of it as they're like traveling through the water on their way to the different cities. But I absolutely adore like his work with the swimming aspects, like when they're out with like all the fishes, and the like also the future fashion, like both with her like Stell's like suit, her swim like gear that looks like very fish-like. It looks kind of like she's a beta for like swim thing. She's got like the fins stuff on her swimsuit.
Yeah.
It looks so good. I don't know what it is, but like I really love how he did that. The hair on Tajo, her like false mohawk that she's got going on, like it's like floating, like a floating mohawk. I love that as well.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I would definitely say, like, even visually, like, this book is worth the, like, look. Like,
Well, even like for the read, but in the back for most of the volumes, they actually show just sketches, like concept art, and like you can kind of see like some sketching they did, and like the actual contrast of like the black
That's
and
the
white.
Solus armor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's badass.
Talk about the Solus armor. Talk about like how
It's
cool
like-
it is.
It's literally the armor if you want to like beat the world. Like if you like, that is what the pirate was after, was the armor for a reason. And
It had like a cover. I think it was like the first cover.
can I
that was-
show?
Yeah,
Can I show? Can I show what's her face in it?
Yeah, as long as you don't show what happens, because that's a big spoiler. That's that one I don't want to spoil.
I want to show it. Let me get it.
Well, here's like the first cover. There's the little girl, Stella, and this helm armor, which looks kind of like an avenging angel, like sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just like epic and huge, and just like, oh man, the armor is really important in the books, like McLoken was saying, because like it's what destroys their family a bit.
Look at this.
Epic.
Look at this.
It's
It is
beautiful.
insane. It's so crazy. That is the suit. And so basically, if you have that suit, you pretty much rule the seas at that moment.
Yeah.
Because they're literally very close, and so domination is always an issue in territory. So that's always kind of like the suit that will be like the end-all be-all. So you kind of have to watch and see what happens.
Which is one of the reasons why this family is set up so well. Like in the beginning,
Yeah.
like they're definitely like
They're meant to
of the
succeed,
elite,
but
because they can run this suit, and that's the last suit. I think we're supposed to believe that there used to be more. Like maybe there are more somewhere that other families maybe had.
The first issue shows like a bunch of dudes like by the border, and they're in that armor. So I think like the first city actually is like the most well defended, because they have quite a few families who have that armor.
Well, when they were talking about the blood and how like, oh, you know, you are the Kane, you know, the Kane family.
You have
Kane
to
family,
like
the Kane
one
family.
of you has to have this suit, because it's the only thing protecting us from all the
You're the only
bullshit
one.
and pirates.
Exactly. Yeah. So they were sort of like defaulted to like leadership because of that. But yeah. I think her really annoying optimism is sort of a sign of like there was a lot of optimism, and there was a lot of promise for their kind,
Their family, their class, their dome.
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
that also you have like that dome was the one where she, like, I don't know if any of the other domes had informations about the probes. Like that one, if all else fails, was the one Remender. Oh god, it's an M. I did spell that wrong. Wow, the whole time. I got a new keyboard yesterday, so
So I double tap M accidentally.
yeah. So shut your butt, Doom Shizzle. Okay, it was spelled wrong the whole time. We're gonna
Shizzle.
pretend that it
I
wasn't.
love you, Doom.
We're gonna pretend that it wasn't spelled wrong. But yeah, you have like this city has access to the technology that you don't see that in the other cities. Like nobody else talks about probes that were sent out. Like either they've all given up already and they don't like even look at it anymore, or this one city for whatever reason was the only one that was given access to the hope for mankind. Like the only
feel
way
like
out.
Well, I feel like there might be some secrets on like the third world because of
The one
how
without the
without the hope.
yeah, the
because
police
I feel
people.
like
there's
I
definitely
feel like
technology
there's-
there and
there's
leadership.
definitely something they're hiding there.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. With how stringent they are with their policing ways, there's definitely something they're hiding.
Yeah.
And like when the daughters are stolen in the first issue, the two daughters are split up, and the dark-haired one, Tajo, is sent to live with the pirates. The light-haired one, Della, is sent to live for some
Sold.
reason.
She's literally sold.
Yeah, sold to this city without hope. So that's kind of like one of the
She got blue hair,
characters,
which is
Stell,
crazy.
is
Is that her?
established in.
Is that Della? The one with the blue hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the
I figured as
characters
much.
is established.
Yeah,
Stell
that's
is
what I
established
figured.
in the first city, and she has all of this like ideas for the future. She definitely has what's that word? She's got
Like her mother.
privilege.
She's
She's
optim-
privileged. She is privileged.
Yeah.
Like that's the word I was looking for.
Does
some
anyone
reason-
go check your privilege and like throw shit in
Check
her face?
your
or anything?
privilege.
I mean, like she
Yeah.
is though. She's in this elite
Privilege.
family. She has this access to technology. She has like an education, and she refuses to give up hope. And everyone's just like, shut your face. Like you're privileged. You don't see the way we've lived. Like you haven't experienced this like complete loss of humanity that these people in the like aren't there like kind of like half fish people in the second
Yeah.
dome?
Oh
Like-
yeah, no, that blew my mind because I was like, oh, it's all humans, and then they get to the second, the
Wait till
mythical
they get
third
to the
city.
surface.
There's, like, a
McLoken.
mermaid.
Wait
Yeah.
till they get to the surface.
I haven't seen the surface yet.
Oh my
I haven't
God.
seen the surface either.
There's even more things that aren't human.
But they're like cool. They're like, hey, what's up?
They're like
You're
cool,
like,
yeah.
"Sup? I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, what's up? I'm
Sup,
gonna murder
dude?
you.
Can't wait for you guys to come back up here, man.
Yeah, just you can't wait. You thought everything was dead, but you know, life finds a way. So you have the Stell, who's kind of like she is the stereotype for the first city. People who are privileged, hopeful, and also like Marek, who's that other side of the first city. People who are just like, what the fuck ever, let's just like have orgies and do drugs because we don't even
Dude.
care anymore.
I couldn't believe it. He's like, I'm trying to get a suck off.
Yeah.
I'm quoting here, guys. Okay.
Yeah, Math.
And I was
Okay.
like,
And then you have Tajo, who is
Yeah.
kind of given to be the
Golden's like,
stereotype
right.
for the second city. She's violent. She is uneducated. She kind of just does
okay, well,
like.
what about this scene? What about this scene? Can we talk about that? What happened? Because I'm still kind of confused.
Okay. We
Oh
will.
no, that's
just
that's
let
the
me.
story I talked about earlier.
Yeah, I know, but like,
Let me just
But still, it
finish
was
my
like-
my city
Sorry.
stereotypes.
I'm sorry.
Mav.
Go on.
Okay.
Go on.
So she's like the pirate princess. Like she doesn't
Yeah.
like she's given information from her mother, and she's just like she looks at the guy who brainwashed her, and he's just like, that's wrong, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna believe you 100%.
Yeah.
So this city is uneducated. They just follow like what they're told, and they're also violent, and like they like cheer on these arenas where people get murdered, and it's very like gladiator culture. And then the third city where Della is raised is like McLoken was saying, like the mind control how you think kind of culture, and she is the character that kind of like exhibits that, And when I don't know if McLoken has gotten there, but when the family is finally like, quote unquote, like
Together.
slowly reunited, you kind of see how these different aspects of thought and like the way the cities have like all established themselves separately, you see how those clash. And that for me is really, really interesting to kind of like, they took this family who should have one view of life in general and one experience because they're a family, and they separated them and forced them into these very, very different ways of thinking. And so that's really cool for me to see how this family interacts and how like maybe they won't be able to be a family anymore because of their separate experiences that are so, so different. But that I just wanted to talk about that. You can talk about the white city, the religion guy. Where is that?
That's in the first city.
The first city, yeah.
The first city.
Everyone told her not to go to him, and
He's like.
are you sure?
Dude.
The what is it? Message? Or how do you pronounce that? Message?
I don't
The
remember.
message? Masaje. I know, right?
M-A-S-J-E.
Masaje. Massage.
Misogynist.
Massage.
There's
He's
all
like,
these
you are one with the world and stuff and things, and she's like, what? He's like, you understand? She's like, what? So I don't know.
Oh, here we go. I got it. I found the guy. So
Fortune cookie.
she goes up to this like, massage or whatever. She goes up to this like temple, and this is the mother, the main character, Stell. She goes up to this temple, and it's just a room of whiteness. And in it is this one dude with like super long hair and a super long beard,
And like this eyeball.
and
They're like Cyclops balls.
and it looks like not many people go to visit this place anymore. And we don't know if it's like all in her head or if this guy is really there, like meditating in the sky. Like we're not really given like a great explanation for what exactly this is. But he just kind of tells her like a story, like one of those old like moral stories.
Mm-hmm.
She asks him a question like, why am I here? What is my like path? Like what is my job? What am I to do? And he just tells her a story, and she's like, okay, so thanks,
Yeah.
and then leaves. I think later, like that temple place gets like destroyed or something.
Oh,
It's supposed to mean something, but we haven't really like gotten to figure it out.
so yeah, and that's just like the first couple of issues. Like that's crazy.
Like, a lot of shit
Volumes,
goes
really.
on that is definitely setting you up for like future events. Like I definitely think that this series has a lot of depth to it that we haven't necessarily seen exactly how things are, but we're given a perspective on something that I think the author is going to twist it. Now, when you talk about the author Rick Remender, he's done Black Science, he's done a lot of like Marvel books before that, he's done Deadly Class, and these are for the most part like adult books. They deal with a lot of I haven't read a lot of his Marvel stuff, but his Image stuff, they deal with a lot of adult themes. They deal with a lot of main characters who are kind of, like I was saying, like they're thrust into a situation without like a lot of hope. They're kind of like down. Like in Black
You don't
Science,
really get a lot of like a hint of something that's gonna happen. It just sort of happens, and you're just like,
and then that sets up this hero's journey,
yeah.
as it were. Like in Black
Then they
Science,
have
the main who you're supposed to think that is the main character builds this machine that can travel across dimensions, except for it breaks and he can't control where it's going to go, and he has his family with him because they thought it was just a test, and like everyone around him is just getting like killed, and all he wants to do is to get his daughter and son back to his like home dimension and back to safety. And
So it's like Lost in Space and Sliders.
yeah. And so that is the Black Science. and it's very violent and very like hopeless, and like everyone is dying everywhere. Like every time they leave a dimension, they leave somebody behind, and it's just like when it's really like down, and then the person you thought was the main character ends up dying too. So like, fuck everything, right? And then you have Deadly Class, which is like another story by Remender, and that's a story about this like kid in the 80s who goes to a school for assassins, and like his whole life has just been like shit, like horrible. And he goes to the school, and like he's like, okay, like finally, like I can do something, like I can have some value. And then like he just like gets in these situations where he's set against like his classmates, and he's set against like the people that are his friends, and like things from his past like come back to haunt him. And he's like, it's just like all of these characters, like when you look at what Remender does, like all of these characters are basically just like in the direst of straits, and it brings out these parts of them that are either like like Stell, like I will have hope through the darkest of times, and like he constantly challenges her optimism, or B, like his other characters where it's just like, well shit, like I thought that things were fine, but I was just like in this bubble, everything is horrible, like this is what life is. And you're kind of like, you set this like parallel for the characters he's done before versus this character of Stell, who is just like, no matter what the story throws at her, she is constantly like, no, you know what? I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna remain optimistic. I'm gonna keep on this journey because I have to be optimistic. I have to save humanity. Like I am literally the only person who is still trying. Like, you look at the story and it's like, legitimately, from what we've seen so far, the only person that's still trying to save the world is Stell Kane. Out of everybody who's left alive, she's the only one that is still trying to save the world.
Well, she's the only one that is alive, I feel like.
Everyone else is just slowly dying.
I feel like everyone just keeps dying. Yeah, like like the sort of like everyone follows Game of Thrones, and it's not similar at all, but in the sense of like a family falling apart, definitely makes me really sad.
Yeah. You have a parallel with like the Starks and the Kane family, I think.
I think it also, like, I think everyone's just kind of accepted their fate. They're like, we're fucked. This is it.
This is how things go. Yeah. And so like, and you do have I like the parallel you were drawing, Matt, like the Game of Thrones thing. Like, there's this family who, from the very beginning, has lost their father figure. Like, and that's like a very like literal parallel. Like this family with like a large family with a very strong bond has lost that one thing that tied them all together, and then like without that they just like fall into pieces. Maybe not like intentionally. Yeah. Like I think that if Stell had been able to keep her daughters, like things would have ended up differently. But the fact is that circumstances tore them all apart, and that is very similar, like with the Game of Thrones. Yeah. You're getting a very similar vibe from the familial relationships.
Yeah, because they end up living and becoming a part of another part of the world. Kind of like these
like Arya and Sansa, and Bran and Rickon, they're all like separated to these different like cultural experiences.
Yep.
That is very Game of Thrones.
It's very interesting.
I actually I don't think I've ever like drawn that reference as clearly in my head. Like I might have like had it like in the back of my mind, but I've never like clearly been like, you know what, this family's like the Starks. And that's very.
Like if you're a fan of that, and you're a fan of like seeing how people go off, like they're very similar because they're a family. Families generally have the same ideology in their head,
because they were all raised together.
Separated. Right, but it's also like, okay, well, this same exact type of person in 5 different scenarios, go.
Oh, and yeah, that is an interesting perspective, especially because the daughters are so like they're similar and dissimilar in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have these two characters who are like light versus dark. Like one is outgoing and confident, and the other one is constantly second guessing herself and like kind of standing in the shadows.
They both kind of like sound off on like the father saying, like they all know what dad says, and they all know like his way of thinking, and they all get it, and they all just make fun of it, and ends up being
dad is always like this.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, like they kind of do like the family history where they're walking through the city, and he's like, "That's where my great blah 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 fought and blew up the vessel, and that's how we took over."
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of the like more touching moments is at the end of issue 5 where they go 10 years back in the past, and it's the dad and Mary.
Oh my god, that part like kills me.
I was like, motherfuckers, he's dead.
Oh my god.
Well, because when he died, he was like, I can't wait to go talk to father, and I can't wait to go see him, and then this happens.
Oh my god.
The whole, it's like, I'm so proud of you, son. And I was like, wow, tearjerker. It's
I bawled my eyes out because I have midgets, so like when they took the kids, I was like, no,
There was this like, I just remember there was like a quote. I don't remember where it was, but like this book has so many like incredible moments of like both visual moments, like that moment of Tajo in the helm suit, and also like storytelling moments.
Her eyes are so sick in that fucking suit.
Oh my god, it's
so
fucking,
good.
it's so epic. It's just such a great story. Like you have so many great like panels where you're just like, holy shit, like what just happened? This is incredible like visual storytelling. And then you have so many great like quotes where it's just like these people are finding pockets of themselves that they never really expected to see. Like they're finding parts of themselves that are more than they thought they were.
Yeah.
And like that is like it's a really 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 good story. Like I love it. It's so great. It's so great, and the art is so good. I just want to go back and read it again now.
How often is this comic coming out?
It's monthly. I think every trade they take a little break. That's usually what happens. Like every time they put out like the paperback version, they like get a little take a little break. And so it's really really great. But wrapping everything up, do we have any do we have any going to a totally different topic, anything that came up at E3 that like was announced that are we super super excited about?
That fucking Sony panel.
I was on a plane and I didn't get to see
Honestly,
I didn't watch it.
I'm gonna be super like unpopular, but I thought Sony could have done better. Like, everyone was like, "Oh, Sony brought down the house," and I was like, "Is it because of an orchestra?" Because I'm pretty sure I was really impressed with Xbox and Microsoft. I feel like Microsoft kind of brought it. I don't think that Sony did anything super crazy.
Okay.
Horizon didn't have a date.
They
did a rerun. Like what? There was no console. There was no nothing.
Okay. So
Oh.
what they did is they showed like the first 40 minutes. They showed previews of games that are coming out. Right. They didn't talk about them. They didn't spend like a bunch of time. They didn't like spend the time like, oh, we're making a new system or anything like that. There's like a lot of things for Xbox or Microsoft. I was just like, like the VR stuff or Fallout and was Doom. I mean, that seemed cool. But I don't play VR, so that doesn't really pertain to me at all. But I mean, like, there's a lot of things I was just like, okay. I mean, like, they had a lot of people who were like, we're playing video games. I don't know if they're actually playing those video games.
Oh my god, that was so great. Okay, so Microsoft did a more classic thing, but I feel like they brought more than last year. Last year they did awful. So I think they made a comeback. Sony.
Oh my god, when they announced Project Scorpio, I was just like, so Xbox is building a PC. That's great. Yeah. Teraflops.
Yeah.
Like,
there's gonna be like 3 different.
The price point is gonna be a PC price point too. Like it's gonna be fucking expensive.
Yeah.
It's just basically saying like, okay,
Well, they're
like you
saying,
like
like-
your Xbox, so now we're gonna give you a PC gaming rig that is going to be like branded Xbox.
Well, they were saying like the Scorpio technology was going to be in all of the generations. So like if you have the current one, you're going to have a piece of the technology updated to you. But
But
at
they
the
can't
same
update
time,
the
like, how can
hardware.
right? So I don't know how they're going to do that.
They're
but
gonna
that
mail
was
you like an extra hard drive that you just
Here,
plug
just
in.
plug it in.
Like,
I
it's got a better graphics card.
I mean, okay, so the Sony one, they did that. They're remaking Crash Bandicoot, which I was excited for that.
Which-
Like,
See,
that's-
when I
shouldn't.
heard it, there were a lot of people that were really, really hyped on Twitter because I was just watching this on Twitter. There were a lot
I
of people
wasn't
that were really
really
hyped, and then they
though.
were like disappointed when it was fully like they
Yeah.
saw Crash Bandicoot, and then when I thought that they were just like when they got so disappointed, I was like, wait, so did they just announce that he was going to be just a character in Skylanders?
no, they're remaking the games. They're remastering the
They're
game.
remastering it.
So how do
but
you
I
like?
think- I don't
How
know
can
if
it
it's
get
remaster
better than
it.
Crash
Well, it's-
Bandicoot?
It's better than them going like, oh, we're remastering Skyrim. I was like, go fuck yourself, fucking.
Oh my
I'm
god.
really excited
Well, my
about
thing,
that,
my thing is though, like everyone's like, well, you don't have to remaster Skyrim because
It's
everyone on
free, though.
PC
Like,
can
it's
just mod
free.
it to be
But
that
no,
way
yeah,
already.
no, like, people
But
have
my
been-
thing is, I am so
people-
bad at modding. I tried it and I just like hated
I'm
myself.
the same way. I don't
And
really mod my Skyrim very much.
So I'm actually excited for the remastered version, so I don't have to mess with mods anymore. Because I tried, like, you gotta install them in a
Never.
certain order, and you have to
Plebs.
use like
You plebs,
3
I'm
different
done with you.
things, and like I'm
They're
just
like-
I'm so bad.
Yeah, they showed it. They're like, this is what it's gonna look like, and I was like, my mods already do that. Like,
Yeah, but
then
I
was like,
tried modding it and it took me like hours and hours and hours and it didn't actually improve it as much as I wanted it to. I'm excited for the remaster.
I mean, like, I fucking remaster
yeah, yeah.
Remaster what?
Skyrim
Remaster
coming.
Morrowind.
Yeah! I haven't even played that. Like, why aren't you
Like-
giving that better graphics?
But Skyrim is coming in like 2020.
Like the next Elder Scrolls game?
No, there's literally like an indie team remastering.
Morrowind?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
that's
called
interesting.
Skyward. It's called
I will-
Skyward.
I'll-
Oh,
It's
isn't
supposed
it
to be
like,
Skyrim.
isn't it supposed to be like
It
on the
looks like
Skyrim
Skyrim.
engine, but
Right.
Morrowind?
But it is, yeah.
But like Sony, I mean, like they had the orchestra come out, and then they're like, oh, it's Dad of War, and I was like, that's awesome. Like it looked like a
That
cool
was
game.
really cool.
But my
Um,
thing is that
but-
I haven't played a whole lot of games, so when somebody like announces like a new Zelda, I'm like, I haven't played any of the Zeldas, so you're just like, okay,
Not really. The
another
Zeldas are
game that I
kinda
haven't
standalones.
played.
The Zelda's like Skyrim. It was really kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I've seen
it's
people
really
play.
open world.
I've seen
in the
people play
Zelda
Ocarina
universe.
of Time, and it's so fucking old.
The Last Guardian.
They didn't
Yeah.
show basically anything for that at the show. Like they had one
Thank
like
you. They
giant
showed
like
nothing.
they had like
They
a
didn't
like
show
a
any
big.
gameplay.
They had at the show on the show floor. They had like a big poster thing where you could like make the Last Guardian come back
Guardian
and
come
forth,
back.
and that was it.
Well,
There's
I know
nothing
it's coming
else
out
for that
this
game.
October. The
And didn't
release
they
date's in
announce the Last
October.
Guardian at last E3?
Yes.
And it's at
And
this E3
Horizon.
with absolutely no more like content shown at all.
Less
Oh.
actually, much
Horizon,
less.
Horizon had gameplay. Okay, they didn't have gameplay last time when they
See,
showed
that's
it.
at least an
Gameplay.
improvement.
Horizon had a bunch of stuff, but there was still no date. Like there was literally, why would you show us that again?
Because
That's the thing. They
wanted
did that
I'm
at the
so
Image Comics.
salty.
They did that at Image Comics Expo as well. Like they would show you, we're planning on making this book. Here's a cover. Here's a couple of sketches. It's coming out next year, and the next Image Expo. Okay, so it hasn't come out yet.
I mean,
the
like,
next year,
and
like
also,
now we're not
Doom,
even talking
I-
about it anymore.
I totally agree with the Spider-Man game. I hope it's good. All the other Spider-Man games have been
You know
crap.
what? The people that are working on it though are doing a really great job. From what
Okay.
I've heard.
Oh,
it's
awesome.
Literally, it's
Oh
literally
my god,
their baby.
though.
So,
like, can we just
it's gonna be
say,
really
like, Star
good.
Trek VR? I played
It's
it.
gonna be really
It's
good.
amazing. I like honestly, I
Gonna
was
sell
just
that.
like, I could do without VR entirely until they announced that game. I'm like, now I need a VR headset.
I really
need
want
it.
VR
Yeah.
Fallout.
I talked to the guys. I didn't play VR Fallout, but I talked to
I
the
didn't
guys
get
about
to
it
either.
because I was really concerned about the movement system.
Yeah.
Because when you have a VR game in which the game is like moving, but you are physically sitting still or standing still, it's very nauseating to me and to a lot of people. And so I was concerned about the movement system in Fallout, and they said it's going to be like a transporter system. So, and I played one VR game where they did it in that way, just for like a couple minutes at like a trial thing. But basically what you do is you just like have a little like controller that you just like pop a little goal marker over to another area, and then it just like zaps you over there. So there's no like nauseating bit of it, and then you can move around within the space that you're in.
There was a lot of cool VR. I think this E3 was more VR.
And they've gotten better,
Oculus,
like,
Rift,
just in putting out games and seeing how people respond.
I don't think a lot of
Like,
people are
the
gonna have it,
nauseating
though,
thing was a
honestly.
really big deal with
the
virtual
Vive is like
reality.
fucking $800.
Yeah, it's so
I
much
really don't
money.
think people are gonna actually purchase those. Like the majority of people.
Well,
aren't
isn't the
gonna have those.
PlayStation VR like much less, like half the price of the Vive?
Isn't? I
Yeah.
thought it was like $500 or
That's
something.
$399.
Which is like half the price of the Vive.
Well, I mean, like,
Yeah, so
500 after taxes.
right. And then what's the price point for the Oculus? Do we know?
I don't know what the Oculus is. No,
It's
400.
like VR versus Oculus, honestly.
Because I like the one thing that would like I like the Vive because of some of the exclusives that I've seen on Vive, and just because I've seen more people using Vive, I'm more familiar with it. It's $600 for Oculus, okay.
Oh god.
But I played the Star Trek VR on the Oculus, and their hand controls were like super intrinsic.
Yeah.
Like, in the game in terms of like using like individual fingers and controlling like movement of your hands in game. Like the Vive, you like from what I experienced, you couldn't control like what your hands were doing except for to say, okay, now you're picking this up, and your hand model is still just like this, like you're picking this thing up. With the Oculus, you could be like, all right, I'm closing my fist, I'm pressing this finger. And it was really, really interesting.
Okay, I'm gonna make the holodeck.
That's like they need to, but seriously, that's what the Star Trek VR bridge command. It's like the Kobayashi Maru. It's like it was like what you would have in Star Trek, and they're making a story, like some kind of progression mode, and I'm just like really, really excited for just to see like I'm assuming it would be like a career progression.
Yeah.
Because that's what Star Trek is very focused on. It's like they have their like military rank system.
I think one of the games I'm not hyped about, and I haven't been hyped about for a good while, is because they did a VR of Final Fantasy 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that game still looks like Bro Quest. I don't know.
I haven't
it looks
played
like
a single Final Fantasy game ever.
I played a lot of them.
I'm the same with Blue.
Well,
So like you announced a
I
new
think
Final Fantasy game, and I'm like, that's a lot of games.
That's really cool. That's a lot of.
There's
that's a lot
15 of
work.
those. Wow.
yeah. I grew up playing Final Fantasy, and I look at that game, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about you. I mean,
the trailer looks like graphically great.
It looks cool.
I mean, it's not about. It seems like you only can play one character. All the other dudes just do whatever the fuck they want, and they're probably just gonna go die.
Okay, in
because
terms
they're
of
dumb.
playing characters, what about Dishonored? Dishonored 2.
Dishonored looks sweet.
Like visually, like the gameplay, like obviously needs a little bit of work. It was kind of jumpy, but like visually, it looked pretty interesting. You can choose between two of the characters. The woman is obviously OP as fuck. Honestly, you have to have some kind of hard mode for playing her because she is like, they do have porn documented.
With that authentic World War I music, yeah, I thought it was pretty authentic. That was a good one.
I just like the world, like how you played it. It was just really fun.
I was actually
Very
talking,
good.
like, I went to a party with Austin Marie, like, she had a little thing in her house, and one of the guests was the first VR cam girl. Like, they have virtual reality live porn.
What?
Oh yeah, they had porn VR. Yeah, they did.
But this is live. Like, in some way they're able to capture a 3D image and
you definitely
live
have, like, a 3D
broadcast
camera,
it.
like a
Can you
globe
imagine
camera.
if they could VR broadcast like regular Twitch stuff? Like a virtual reality broadcast.
You don't want to be in my office. Trust me.
No, I mean like you are in VR and other people can see in VR instead of just seeing the two-dimensional images that you're seeing.
That'd be weird if
You know?
like someone was like doing VR and they're like, I'm gonna touch his beard, and they touch my beard and I felt it, and I'd be like,
They had
like,
one of the things they had at the con
Someone was
was
touching
this
themselves, though.
like glove
in VR.
that had like a big old like thing on it.
Yep.
And you could feel like it gave you like the sensations of the objects you were touching up in game.
I can't. No.
Yeah.
wait, what?
Yes.
It was one of the things they had at the show from an independent company was this glove that has like this big old like computer basically hooked on it.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of like sense like reactors in the glove that you can feel when you're touching an object, but it's a virtual object, but you can feel it.
Oh.
So if you like pick up a cup in VR, instead of just getting a sensation that you're holding your hand in the air, but visually you see a cup, you actually feel the like tactile grip of having something in your hands.
Oh, so you can give virtual hand jobs now.
Yeah. You could feel
Great.
the
can't wait
penis
to get my
within your
hands up.
fingers. Like you have the sensation. Yeah. Can you?
I'm not blushing.
No, not at all. Like that's just her makeup. It's really pink on the cheeks.
Yes, it's a reflection of their hair onto her face. Don't.
Honestly, though, like when you're thinking about like just in terms of like technology advancing and everything, like live VR broadcasts, like porn is like new frontiers, man. They're like live, like even if you're not talking about the content of the broadcast, a live VR broadcast, like that is something that I haven't seen done before, and that's super interesting.
Super duper interesting.
I don't know.
It's the future. You're gonna have to get used to it. It'll either be
See,
awesome
I get car
or
sick,
it
so
won't.
I don't know if I could be VR. I'd just be like in the corner crying or throwing
Well,
up.
but that's
on
the
other
thing
side
I was
of this
talking
room.
about. If the room isn't moving around you, if you're
Yes.
the one who is controlling the movement of the space, like that's one of the cool things about the Vive. That's why people get it, is because you can stand up in your living room and walk around, and that's walking around in the space. The thing with the Oculus that I probably would go for the Vive above it is that like I want to be able to stand up in Fallout and walk around inside the space and not have the game moving around me, but me sitting still. That will make me sick.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that X-Wing VR mission? That looks sweet. I wanted to play that. I want to feel like a
X-Wing?
pilot where I'm like flying the X-Wing VR mission from Battlefront.
Nice. That's interesting. Like because then you're in. I'm wondering how that's going to work out because you're in a cockpit and you're sitting in a cockpit, but you can see movement.
You control everything, and then like you can like look and go see. Oh, there's a fucking TIE fighter on my fucking port side.
That would be interesting to see whether that sort of movement would make people sick. Because you're sitting in a cockpit and there's stationary objects in the VR around you, but you're also seeing movement.
I don't. That shit doesn't make me sick. I don't have motion sickness.
I don't except for in VR.
I can't do G-force. I can't spin. I can drop. I can't spin.
Like it hasn't been a problem with me in any other
ears,
like
I don't
not
know,
in
it's like the
cars,
fluid in
not
my
in
ears gets
vehicles,
stuck.
but for some reason in
Potato.
VR I do get motion sick.
I get potato.
I would love to play Resident Evil 7 VR, but I'm not gonna get a VR, so I'm never gonna probably play that Resident Evil.
I don't know. What about like 2 years in the future when a VR costs less than
Like
your
$100
actual console? Like
maybe then.
eventually
but
it will
way.
become an easier thing to get.
I'd rather build my own VR.
That'd be cool. Like you could build your own VR, like you could build your own computer.
Yeah.
Like
You're gonna be like the
actually
VR
jump out of your
PC master
closet.
race.
You're just
Like
gonna
I don't want your
pretend to work,
Oculus. I
right?
want to build my own.
Yes.
You're just gonna hire people just to jump out, and it's gonna be a haunted house.
Like you say, it's a VR haunted house, and you have people put
It's
on these
VR.
silly glasses, but the people are actually there. I think that's like you could do like augmented
It's
reality.
just like goggles with a hole in it, so they're just walking around. They're like, "Oh my god, this is so realistic."
No, like they're talking
It's
about
like I
like
can
instead
go
of
out and
virtual
touch it.
reality, having augmented reality, where you put on glasses and you can like see a holographic image inside a real space. So you could like
Grandma's like,
have
"Stop,
like you could have like some kind of dragon or unicorn walking around your house.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Or you
don't-
walk in on your grandma using the VR headset for porn.
Yeah, that'll be great. You won't be able to see what she's seeing. It's fine.
He's like, back in my day.
Yeah, but you'll be able to hear her. Like,
yeah,
Jimmy.
that's true. That's true.
I got my VR glove.
I've got my
Oh my
VR.
God. So I think for me the biggest thing about E3 was that they're announcing new games for series I've never played.
So many games. I'm
They're
so
announcing new
happy.
exclusives for consoles I don't have.
I don't like.
And they're
that.
announcing new games that I want to play for VR headsets I don't own. So that was E3 for me. It was just making me want more things that I don't have.
I'm poor.
I'm poor.
Yeah,
So
that's what E3 did. I was
thank
like,
you,
oh, yeah, I'm poor.
E3. Someone was
Xbox
saying that
had
they
a
put
lot
together a list of
titles.
someone was
like-
saying they put together a list of all the games that they wanted from E3, and it was like $700 for just the games, not even like the consoles and VR exclusive shit. Like
Yeah.
$700 plus you need a Vive, and then there's this one game that's exclusive to Oculus, so you need that too. And then like you've spent like $3 trillion just to be able to play the games that were announced at one convention in 1 year.
I mean, yeah. I'll see what they come out with.
Yeah, I'm
I'll see
hoping
what
that
game.
I'm hoping that like virtual reality headsets drop in price, because like my dream is to live in Star Trek. So the only way we're making that happen at this point is going to be VR, because even if I became a famous actor and got to be on the show, it would still be added in special effects later. So
Yeah.
I just
I
have to
think
VR my life now.
Days Gone.
Did you ever
Days
get
Gone-
into that?
What?
Did you ever get into that? Like, weren't you invited to do it?
Do what?
The show.
Oh.
Oh.
I wasn't invited to be on Star Trek, dude. I would like probably like have dissolved into a pile of goo by
I think
now.
you might have tweeted something like, "Let me on." Like,
Yeah.
I'll do it. Okay,
That was,
that's
yeah, I
right.
tweeted something like, this is the thing that I need to do with my life. Please, me, Star Trek, please.
Please.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of a Days Gone though? That
I
game.
don't think I saw that one. I was probably on a plane. That's a
That's
zombie thing, right? Zombies?
Hold on. Days Gone.
Yeah,
What is it? Another zombie game?
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
over
I'm not,
zombies.
like, I don't have, I like survival type games. Let's see,
Survival
Google.
games are
I
good.
think- I think-
It looks kind of cool. I mean, I honestly, there wasn't really a game that I was like, I'm not playing that. Honestly.
there's zombie
I'm willing to
hordes.
play all of them, and they all look
Or
really
like,
cool.
was it Death Stranding? The one with Norman
Oh, that's
Reedus?
the Kojima, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who he was before the thing, and everyone was freaking out, and I'm just like, I think I need to learn more
creepy.
stuff.
What from the trailer? Basically, what I saw was if Norman Reedus, because he had a baby, right? And it was Norman Reedus's baby. So when Norman Reedus gets
No, it was
pregnant,
his
and has
butt.
a baby.
He
It
shows
was-
his butt.
No, he does show his butt. I remember
Right.
that. And so I was like, oh, there's his butt.
Is it a VR butt or a regular butt?
It's regular.
Well,
Is
it
it
was-
two-dimensional or
it was-
four-dimensional butt?
It was preview butt.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
So like he has a baby. I'm fairly sure if Norman Reedus has a baby, it's going to mean the end of the world because that's what happens in the trailer. So it
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
Norman Reedus has a baby, and then the world ends?
It looked
Well,
like
there's a bunch of dead sea life on the fucking beach where he's
there
at.
was like
So
there
it's
was,
like Life is
oil
Strange.
hand- There's like hands everywhere and
Mm-hmm.
and
I didn't see it. I have to catch
And
up
then
with
the
the stuff I
fucking
missed
people
while I
in the
was
sky.
gone.
I was like, who the fuck are they? I want to know. I was like, is this Silent Hills? What's going on with my emotions? And then I died.
I'm really excited for Star Trek VR. That's the only, like, that's honestly, that took the show for me. And that's just because it's the only thing I've ever wanted. That it stole everything.
Honestly, I'm really excited for Fallout VR. I'm really excited for the remaster. I mean, everything Bethesda. I'm such a Bethesda fan.
Prey looked creepy as
Like-
fuck.
How are you gonna stream VR? I mean, like
Um,
you can't read
You
chat.
can see my room. If I run into the closet, it's fine.
No, I think that the streaming VR is like there is a like Sonya was doing it, and like I don't know if she figured out a way to have an overlay.
She had it in another room.
Like
Because
I
it
know,
was big
like
enough.
I know that
It's
she was
weird.
talking. She was talking to like people. Like somebody gave her a VR headset because
Yeah.
she's famous, and she was talking to the Vive people about having a way to have like a chat overlay that would float in the game. So you would always like.
you can read it. And
It's
then not
basically
have to,
like you're
look
in
at the
VR
chat.
inside an Iron Man suit, and then you
Oh,
have
and it's,
different
like,
just
chat.
overlays.
You can
Like-
just
Oh,
talk.
you like look over and you can see chat.
Yeah.
And you look over
That's
there
what
and
the
you can see who
monster's
just
gonna hide
subscribed.
behind. The
Well, it would
monster's
be
gonna hide behind your
transparent.
chat, and chat's really gonna kill you.
My
Chat is
would
actually
kill
going to
me,
kill
though.
you.
My chat would kill me.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, I'm not ever going to play any horror VR. Deathclaw
Yeah, you will.
VR would probably
Yeah, you
actually
will.
kill me.
Do it.
Come on, you're like such a fan of Dead by Daylight now.
But
You
it's
look
I mean,
at
it's
it.
because it's thrilling, not because it's scary. Like, I don't
I
know,
think-
horror VR.
I
Have
think
you
it's
ever
scary.
tried VR, Mav?
No.
When something is approaching you, and it's everything you can see. It, like, I had a really fake looking cartoon robot with a television for a head, and I had to throw knives at his face, and I died every single time because it was so, like, it was threatening my
I've never
personal
tried it.
space
I've
in a
never
way that a
tried it.
two-dimensional game cannot give you.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like you can see outside of a monitor. You can't see outside of a VR headset. So even if it's a tiny kitten approaching you with a shotgun, like even if it's the most like unrealistic, not scary thing you've ever heard, because it is approaching you
real.
in what seems like physical space,
Right.
and it's approaching your like physical, like everything you can see, it is so scary. It is
It's
really
so
hard.
real.
And so,
Well,
like, it doesn't matter if the graphics are like cartoony and shit. Like, if something approaches you inside a VR space, it's hard to retain composure.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that.
So, like, that's the thing. That's why I will never play VR horror, because I will probably actually, literally, pee my pants. Like, on stream, pee my pants.
Tell
I
me
mean,
more. Um,
I really want to play that one horror game that came out for it. What is it?
what? Which one?
Look, I already forgot the name. We were just talking about it.
Resident Evil 7?
Yeah, Resident Evil. Yeah, I want to play that in VR. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Or Resident Evil fucking
That's like
Biohazard
that'll be like 1,000 sub goal.
or Biodome?
Flash.
Resident
That'll
Evil
be like,
Biodome.
no.
It's got Pauly Shore.
By the
in
time
it,
they have like VR horror, I might be able to be okay with Alien Isolation. Like, no, in 2D, like
I will
on,
never play that. Oh yeah, I got you.
like not in VR. Like by the time they have VR horror, I'll be way back playing 2-dimensional on a monitor in the daytime with happy music playing. Alien
everyone
Isolation. Like, I'll just be like, I'm gonna put on like the happiest music. So that it
We
distracts
Happy
me from the
Few.
horror. Oh yeah. That looks creepy as fuck. I love it.
I want to play that game because that reminds me of like 1984 and like all those other kind of movies where they
Oh
like
yeah. Where they're all like
Brave New. I think it was Brave New World where they're
Aldous
taking a
Huxley.
drug called Soma and it makes everyone like fucking
Okay,
not
shut
give
up,
a shit.
documented. I'm not playing Alien Isolation on the Oculus. Fuck that, no.
But no, that game looked cool, and I was like, "Oh, look, we got a downer," and I was like, "That's like showing up to a party, and everyone's just like, look, it's the downer."
Oh my
Like,
God, that
you
game
fucking
is
shit
gonna
on
be
everything.
So cool. That
Yeah.
was like the first thing we thought, dude. We were like, oh shit, we got a downer over here.
Oh my god. It reminded me of the one
was
episode
crazy.
of Doctor
That
Who where people had little like patches that had emotions on them. So if you want to feel happy, you just take the joy and you stick it on your neck and
Which-
you're happy.
Which doctor was that? What happened in that one?
I think that was Tennant's doctor. That was when they got like stuck in the traffic, I think. There was the one city where like everyone lived and died in the stream of traffic.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And at the
Did-
very
did they have
beginning of
patches?
it, they had like before they got in the cars, they had like this scene where like he was selling like sadness, happiness, like,
Yeah, I remember that.
energy.
And he got mad because he was selling emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? And so that also actually that wasn't it joy that they called the pill in We Happy Few? Oh, it was joy.
Yeah.
Did you take your joy today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then if you didn't take it, you became a downer because you started seeing everything for what it really was.
Yeah.
That's very Matrix.
Kenyatta rats. That's
Ugh. They're all like eating
that one is freaky.
yeah. I want to play that. I
Yeah.
want to play that. Oh, Detroit. You guys see Detroit? Detroit. So I have like a major just like love for detective games.
Okay.
So it's
I might have
basically
seen it. Yeah. Like a PI.
you play an android and you're trying to figure out these clues and like there's a situation that you have multiple ways that it could end up going depending on how you play it. or how you discover things, or if you find certain clues to help you like talk to this person to kind of get this information to go on. It looks really interesting. I want to play the shoot out of that.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch the conferences I missed when I was traveling.
Oh, and I also want to play Prey.
Prey looks fucking creepy.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that, but it looks creepy. I'll watch because I won't play it. I'll come over to your house and hide behind a pillow while you play it.
Okay. And I'll give you whiskey, and I'll be like, "Here, Blue Jay, you got scared again," and just have you drink it until you just don't give a shit.
And I'll just be like, ah, ah, ah. That's gonna be me. Like the whole time.
That game does look cool, and that's a remake. A lot of people didn't know that.
Right? Yeah, there was a 2006 game.
Yeah.
Alaskan Savage went live last night, and it said like Alaskan Savage playing Prey, and I'm like, what?
But yeah.
And I went over there, and it's like 2006, and I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know that existed. I was like, did he get an advance copy this early? What?
He wasn't even at E3. Like,
how? Oh man. Yeah, that was okay. Anything else E3 related? Do you guys have any comments, chat, on low or video games or anything?
Crazy there.
It was very crazy. The thing is, like, what I learned from like,
I wish I was there. I was there to hang out.
This is my first E3, and like the thing that I learned was like I need to contact companies beforehand. Because you had to have an appointment to be able to play things, like to be able to see things. Like you had to have an appointment. Like Gwent, you had to have an appointment to play it, and like all of these games that media had already contacted them. And if you didn't have an appointment, then you had to wait in like a 17-hour line. And I'm like, fuck that.
That pirate game, that really cool pirate game.
Oh, Sea of Thieves.
That had. Yes,
yeah,
I had the longest line in the Microsoft area. It was like 5 hours every day.
Yeah, and it's just like I'm sorry, but I have not to say more important things. Like E3, you go there to like see the announcements, and, like try out the games. But honestly, I'm not gonna wait in line for 5 hours to play something for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that's not no. What are we doing? Hitting up companies? Yeah.
Divide and conquer. I mean, like, when I go to PAX, everyone's like, oh, you're going to check out that game? And I was like, unless I can, like, get in there.
Well, and PAX, it's honestly easier to get into things. Like, I feel like a little bit privileged saying this, but a lot of times as a streamer, you can be like, hi, I stream on Twitch. Can I try your game and not wait in that 2-hour line? And sometimes, like, either you know somebody or they understand that, like
let's play Battlefield together, okay?
Oh my god. The Astro stream team is trying to get like a full, because the stream team is 68 people. So we're trying to get a full server
team
of Astro streamers. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that works. Trying to do that. I'm really hyped because if we can actually get, because the people that at Astro, there's like 10 of them or like 7 of them that would want to play too, so you don't have to get everybody on the stream team. But I'm hoping to have like a crazy huge like voice chat.
Even if like you knew everyone that's on the map, that would be really fun.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Like you know everybody in a 64-man server. Like crazy. That'd be awesome. That'd be so awesome. And like you have your like 5-man squads for voice chat, but then you're like, oh shit, I see Geo over there. We gotta go fuck him up. Like you know everybody. You know? Like that's gonna be awesome. Like I really, really hope we can work that out time-wise with everybody. Because that would just be epic. Anything else? Because like it's already been like 45 minutes longer than we usually do the show, which I'm totally fine with because it's fun.
It's because I'm a conversationalist and I miss you guys.
I miss you too.
I know, I miss you guys too.
If you guys, audience, were unaware, McLoken was supposed to be for every other week, but he keeps having stuff he's doing with his life, so.
I went to Planet Comic-Con. That happened.
Fuck him, am I right?
Then I had the Chicago Twitch meetup. My next week, and I had rude.
How dare you meet people?
But I don't have anything going on until PAX West.
Yeah, that's me too, and that was kind of planned. Like I originally wasn't even gonna go to East or E3, so those kind of just like fell into my lap, and now I'm just like, okay, nothing until West, buckling down, and then of course TwitchCon is 2 weeks after. Like I'm gonna die. Like I'm my mind is like I honestly cannot even plan anything about South until financially I get through that month. Because it's gonna murder my wallet. It already has murdered my wallet.
I'm just
E3
gonna
was
bring,
kind of too crazy.
I'm gonna
E3
bring
was-
packets of ramen and just eat
I was
raw
there for a
ramen.
week, so like.
Oh yeah, you were there for a lot longer than me. E3 wasn't as bad. Like I missed being on my computer and playing games because I wasn't able to play that much. More than I actually like felt like I was away for a long time. Like I missed Overwatch. Overwatch a lot.
We literally, that's what we did. Like Lauren and I would go run around the Monster Cat room because it was so empty, and we would do movements, and I was like Genji, and she was Pharah, and she was gonna Rain, and like it was. I'm glad I'm home.
Yeah. I'm glad too. Okay, are any of
All
you
right.
guys continuing streaming after this or anything like that?
I just got done streaming and
So
made it into here.
Okay, so McLoki's done for the day, but y'all should follow him anyway because he's a gorgeous man. Follow McLoki Doki.
1 week, $3,000 later. Honestly, yes.
Yes. Actually, you're exaggerating, but for me,
Honestly,
like,
that's how
I'm
much it
paying
costs.
for Greeley too.
Yeah.
Because he's missed so much and he needs to be at West. And we're also making it like an actual trip. Like we're staying for a whole week for West because like we love Seattle and we want to actually not be crazy rushed the whole time. So yes, 1 week, over $3,000 for me and
Yep.
Greeley both. Okay, so McLoken, and are you?
I'll be streaming. I'm gonna go get some food real quick, and then we're gonna be playing all night.
What are you playing?
Lawbreakers. I think I'm gonna do my Destiny dailies because
Okay.
talking
Destiny
stuff.
shit.
If I haven't streamed yet,
Yeah.
but then we're gonna play Lawbreakers all weekend.
Lawbreakers, nice. Very
Yeah,
cool.
the alphas are
literally
only
like-
this weekend.
It's literally like Overwatch on crack. Like it's like
Wow.
Overwatch had a baby with like gravity, and you have like these really cool abilities. It's really
Damn.
cool. Yeah, it's gonna be really
Intense.
fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am also streaming right after this. I am legitimately going to like go to the bathroom and then come back to my computer. So, I honestly haven't thought of what I'm playing yet.
Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight. I'm playing Dead by Daylight. Okay.
If you're on later, we can play some Dead by Daylight later. I'll PM you if you're up.
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
playing.
What's later for you? How many
Like-
hours?
Well, I'm gonna be playing Lawbreakers, so
Like.
and a little bit of marathon-y this weekend.
Okay. So yeah, later. Okay. That's
I'll just let you
happening.
All right.
We're leaving Saturday
And
morning
we
comics.
have a TwitchCon panel, me and Blue Jay.
Yeah, we do. 9 to
Well,
5 to 5 to
do
9
you?
to 9 to 5
Yep.
to 9 to 5.
9 to 5 to 9. How to
Panel.
balance your time.
Yeah.
Aww.
Because I do that really super well. Mhm.
I do it ridiculously too much.
Yeah, you
Yep.
do. All right. We're playing Dead by Daylight in T-minus
Austin, go play that.
20 minutes. Austin, just buy it,
Good,
download it, and
Austin.
play it with me right now. Okay, bye! Love you guys.